They were, unfortunately, they were evil. It was about greed and money. That was the wrong. Okay? We need resolutions. Okay? The fact of Kuleana lands, it was given to Hawaiian individuals. And it's clear, HRS 172 11. We're not allowed to attack Kuleana lands. You're not allowed to sell Kuleana lands. Kamehameha III, he said, he giving this land, and he was okay with 300 family members owning one parcel because he knew that the future, as well as Liliu Kalani, all these people, they knew that one day our people are not going to have land. And I have a lot of millionaire friends that could come here and buy this whole island, unfortunately. And to the point where everybody of all nationalities and the community, they're not going to have land in Hawaii one day. And we have to find a resolution that enforces the protection of our birthright. It's a birthright. And all these people that purchase Kuleana lands, it's illegal. And they have realtor insurance, mortgage insurance. They can take it up with those people. The county not liable. They took the risk to purchase. And you know the whole sovereignty thing, it's true. It's a matter of fact. But what are we going to do to move forward? And we need to do it one step at a time, one resolution at a time. We got to choose our battles and do it smooth for everybody, not one person. And this going to become a community matter because even if I wasn't raised here, this is a sense of home because lineage, genealogy wise, my kupuna came from here. And me, I always come and honor my ohana. Like, I love being here and around them and support them. And overall, Mauna Kea, I'd like you share how this gonna affect or what can we do. And the thing is we gotta try. If we not try, then no mean nothing, yeah. And I was involved in the creation of that book, Mauna Kea, that you check it. That's why I never talk too much detail of that. But maybe you can share the law. I just want to put it out there too. The law does not have any jurisdiction overall. But some things we gonna compromise to make things happen. But we don't have to. But I speaking to because our mayor, as well as his title for the county, is attorney. But they are Ohana. And Mauna Kea is a Trask. And they're from Wainiha. Their parcel is right back here, descended from Keaka. Yeah? And so they are also blood related to this Ahukua. You know? And not only for today, we gotta stop the excavators for a while. Let it become a civil matter. Let the burden of proof be in the plaintiff. And let me tell you, the proof is in the pudding that the state, the county, our plantation owners, they did wrong. And we do have individuals that can prove it, yeah? And the documents are there too. But I'd like to, there's a lot that I can share. Just with that ike, a little bit, because there's a lot of manao. Um, protection for Kuleana lands. I was involved for the exemption of Kuleana lands because I own a Kuleana land on Oahu. Kauai, Kauai has always been a separate kingdom. I also feel how you're sharing that Kauai can make an impact, and for many years, Kauai has on the whole chain of islands to make pono, make right with the indigenous, with the people that gonna stay here forever. We never gonna move. There's always gonna be home, and we cannot pack up like the rich, my rich friends, and they can just go wherever they want, you know. And I tell my rich friends, no buy land over here because you can buy anywhere else. But before you know it, these people are gonna buy us all out in Wainiha, the whole Kauai. I mean, even of other nationalities that were part of the kingdom, that were worked for the plantation. There's our community of all nationalities, not only our Coco blood people, but we all suffering already. We all struggling, everyone, no matter what. Even if you have a little extra money than the other one, everybody is in the same va'a. Everybody's in the same canoe, living day by day. Unfortunately, and it's a fact, we work for 30, 50 years max is government style. 65, you collect Social Security. Okay, and then half the nation die before they even collect, and then that's not even enough to live. Just all of that, and kupuna gonna go live with their family, this and that. Just in society, we are struggling. But overall, if things are made right, if our native people can sustain themselves with, they need their land, they need their water, and it's legal, it's clear. But then you get all these court dealings and that. You know what? Just make things pono. We've been pushing things under the carpet. Our plantation owners, they were the biggest liars ever. And these people, even if we go to court, they're not going to show the proof. I telling you, I have the proof, and there's many others with the proof, and this will go on forever and ever. And we gonna get hurt and gonna be even worse because it's gonna be done with court. And for years and years, look at our people. Look at Kauai. Look how many people passed away, even including my father, passing away in the last year. And this year just started. But look how many people we're losing, and of working hard, of fighting for their land. Like, I think right now is the time that things can change. I mean, you're almost done with your term of mayor, but I would leave the mayor's office with a bang. You know, leave the mayor's office with righteousness, and you know you're gonna be known as the only mayor that had try make right. You know what I mean? Because we had corruption for so long. Because our old mayors, our old governors was the plantation owners for generations before it was elected and all of that. You know what I mean? And by power, we understand. But Mauna Kea, what do you have to share with us on legal terms, or what you feel about what can we do? Can we stop the desecration and excavations permanently? And what can we try to do? And even if doesn't work, the people shall continue to fight it because it's their birthright. But what are we gonna do to protect our birthright and interests in our lands? And it's for the entire community, not just individuals. And that was the whole goal of Kamehameha III with the Mahele. There was all those different things in between, legal transactions presently for a few years, but what can Kauai do for the rest of the chain of islands? How are we different? What kind of impact we can make? Um, and we're not going to come up with that right now.
Yeah, and I know, and that's why I wanted to hear what you're saying, the overall.
We have to work on
But
a plan.
somehow I wanted, which is great, hone in on here and how we can take this discussion. Yeah, what we're talking about today.
Why this I not,
Yeah.
cuz?
So I wanted Mauna Kea
Yeah.
now. I mean, if anybody else, I wanted Mauna
For the
Kea to
county.
explain
Yeah.
Explain.
on
Yeah,
this
Mauna
side
Kea.
all
They know
the
where-
other
where they
things that are
stand.
happening and how to be real on what is on the table and then go from there.
Okay.
Because we got to deal with other set of things that we have to look at and how to merge that or not and make this be part of the next step.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so no, that's the. So anyway, Mauna Kea.
I'll pour up.
So,
the table first.
anything that was Kuleana lands or Konahiki lands from the king, they had one in rem melodio title that came with that, which I found out the in rem melodio title throughout when I did our property with Uncle Ezra in Honolulu. Upon filing all our paperwork, there was no dispute in the paperwork.
Yeah.
Because I was on Kuleana, living on the land, was handed from to David Kaele'iki through the heirs as Konahiki. So when we'd file our papers, I never used any other outside lawyers because they couldn't present the paperwork that I could present as a homeowner or as a Kuleana on the land. So what that did is it separated me from the court, and the whole problem today, Bernard, is the realtor people is not disclosing the proper paperwork about the land and the Kuleanas that come from the land. And title guarantee only guarantees land from 1976 to today present. If I come as a Kuleana from before 1976, they don't cover that. It says that in their fine print. And there is one of the problems right there is the realtor people is not disclosing all the problems of the land. And if this person never disclosed to Joey Cohen that this kind of problem would occur, then Joey Cohen should be freed from that contract that he made with this guy because he never disclosed that there was going to be a big problem upon him coming with the tractor and bulldozing this place. So the proper channel through you guys' system is not working for us because there's nobody to mediate the problems.
Yeah.
The cops come out 100 miles an hour driving through Honolulu town. I don't know how much cars I saw just for family, peaceful people who living on the land growing food. Something got to change with that. Your guys' office have to be aware of this kind of things that's going to happen. They got to be here to settle the peace. Because if they don't settle the peace, only looks us like activist people. We're all mad and we're all angry people. But in our hearts, we're only growing food that we feed into anybody who comes. So the problem is the Kuleana properties, the Konahiki properties. That's forever. The judge cannot rule over it. The person who buying it cannot buy it because it's not for sale.
Not supposed to be.
Not supposed to
At
be
all.
for sale, you know. So even if my family had sold, they only sold their share. They never sell my share. They never sell my cousin's share. They only sold their share.
I
But
like
then,
to include too for perpetuity.
Yes.
Means even unborn has a
even
share.
unborn has a right to that land.
Let me
Yeah,
get into
please
this right
share.
now, 'cause I don't want the weather to get so. What I got right here is when Grandma Kaleo passed away, or before she passed away, she gave me this. This is Ty Hook's copy of the original Wainiha Partition Actions in 1942. So this was McBride Sugar Company Limited versus William Aharona, Ruby, Ahakuelu, etc. And it goes all the way down. The caption on this thing is like 3 pages. See, this
That's
is
the Kalua, right?
Grandma circled Elizabeth Ty Hook
All of that.
Clark, right there. So this is what, at one point, all our grandparents had.
All.
Okay, she kept hers. So I went through this years ago. It's the whole thing. It's the order. It's the partition action. She gave it to me because she thought I could do something with it, and obviously for these reasons. In the back is the map, original map from Sanborn, who surveyed all the lands. That's the Wainiha partition. That's the Ahu wall.
Original.
The 1948 real property tax map key was taken off of this. And if you look, as you know, all the circles are Wainiha Huilan lot numbers. Those are not Kuleana. Okay? Although, to all of us, the land that we have is our Kuleana. We take care of it. To legally qualify as a land under 1850 law of Amendment 3rd, granting to the inhabitants right and title. That's the Land Commission Award number. And they're all listed here. I'll put this away right now. I don't want to get all right. So what I've done, and I've been looking at it over time. So I got my bearings on like so everything I'm talking about today is verified. Okay? And I want to start off by saying, you know, when I started in the county, I knew some, I didn't know everything, and I've learned that there's a lot for me to learn. But when I got involved in all this stuff, like everybody, I was like 15 years old. Okay, and we all heard that thing. The overthrow was illegal, obviously, 1892. To Julio Kalani, you're done. Get inside the armory, you're pumped. That was the overthrow. It's called, you know, like. Yeah. Thank you. So, what you have, well, I learned about at that time. There's an argument. It's called I call it the fruit of the poisonous tree argument, and that is because the overthrow was illegal in 1893. Everything subsequent thereafter is illegal. It's like a time machine. It takes you back then to 1891, because the real overthrow was 1892, but they did their constitution in 1893. That's the fruit of the poisonous tree argument. I call it that because in criminal cases, if a cop searches somebody illegally and finds something illegal, everything thereafter is fruit of the poisonous tree and doesn't come into court, and you walk depending, right? So I believe that from I was 16 to I went to law school. And then I went to all the teachers, like, I found it. This is it. Writ of mandamus, Supreme Court, we're done. This is all illegal. I learned it from Kane when he used to drive around his four-wheeler on Kealia Beach. You know? And he goes, hey, brother, because I got this when I was 18. He's like, you know what that means? I go, yeah, I know what that means. Bro, I know what I know. Legally, okay? And I'm not saying it's right. There's difference between philosophy and justice and the law and courts. That's why I went to law school. Okay. Philosophically, that's 100% correct. And that's the argument to go, we're going to go in the future. Because canoes move forward. They don't move well backward. We all know that. Okay? We got to move forward. It doesn't work in court. It doesn't. We all know. I went to law school. I learned it. I defended people as a public defender. I learned it. I prosecuted people. I learned it. We all learned it. Now, when Rob comes in with this title, and people see him and they back down either because they're scared of him, or you got another legal argument, it's not because of 1893. You win on the other merits. Butchie Durant's case is a great example. They didn't have right and clear title. But that doesn't mean that the general sovereignty thing was the winning argument. It was a matter of burden of proof and evidence. Those are two different things. They appear to be similar sometimes, but they're not necessarily similar. Okay, that's important to understand. I'm not saying it's right, I'm saying that's the way it is. On a allodial title, okay? So Mahele is true. The history of the Mahele goes like this. And then before I used to get really, I was very angry at the chiefs before because they sold everything out. Okay, that was my feeling of it. But then I learned because of that, it was, I'm not gonna second guess them. They were living in Hawaii in the 1800s, and it was very hard to be anything but white in the 19th century throughout the world. You go ask all of Africa, you go ask anywhere in Polynesia, you go ask any Native American. If you weren't white, it was difficult to live. Guns, germs, and steel. They took you from smallpox, they shot you, or they just didn't care. Slavery. Okay? That's a reality. So what happened was, as some of you know, Hawaii, the first overthrow was not in 1893, that was the second. The first one was like 1839 or something like that. And that's when I think it was Rear Admiral Thomas, I forget who.
43.
Yeah, he came over and he took it. He said, you know what, you guys, we want to own land, we're coming over here, we're taking it. Kamehameha III, at the time, Kauai wrote a letter to the Queen, and they worked it out, and so therefore they gave it back. He came back, George Vancouver gave back, no, it wasn't George Vancouver, somebody else, gave back to him. He stood in 4th Street Mall and he said, Uamau ke'eo uka'aina ikapona. Right? So Uamau is not an environmentalist cry. Ea is defined to be like the life, right? But it also can be understood to be the sovereignty. You know, we always chant Ea at the marches. So the sovereignty of land is perpetuated righteousness. He stood back, and when he took the kingdom back, he said Uamau, and that was the importance of it. He understood thereafter that 19th century in the world, the Industrial Revolution happened, and the French Revolution happened. 1776 was the United States, 1778 was France. They were getting rid of the feudal land system all throughout Europe. We were moving from kings and queens to capitalists and industrialists. And that's what was going on all over the world. And immediately with railroad and steamships, Hawaii was in the crossroads of the Pacific. Whale oil came through, sandalwood came through, ag came through. We can grow stuff all the time. We all know that. In order to prevent another overthrow, he had to do the Mahele, he believed. And so they started in the 1840s. Okay, they do this. So in 1939, he wrote out it's like the original Hawaiian Bill of Rights. Okay, it's called the Magna Carta of the Pacific. He says, you know what, I'm going to give up my supreme authority as king, and we're going to move forward to give the people and solidify everything, because that's how you preserve the people. Hawaiians are aristocrats. They weren't, nowadays we got kind of an identity crisis, but our kupuna did not feel like they're from Jamaica or LA. You know what I mean? They felt they were highly educated, all that stuff. They weren't ignorant. So they were going in. They would say, okay, fine, if this is the way it is, we get the land. So they do the Mahele. The Mahele divides everything into thirds, 1/3 to the king, 1/3 to the kolonihiki, 1/3 to the people, government land. So this is from, and if you want to read it, it's called The Principles Adopted by the Board of Commissioners to Quiet Land Titles in their adjudication of claims presented to them. This was not only a non-Hawaiian thing. John Papa'i'i was on it. Samuel Kamakaua was on it. Okay, there was upstanding, the Keoneana was on it. So a couple of things, they came up with their principles. The board was formed in 1846 and dissolved in 1855. Now on a allodial title is land that is free from, it's in concept, you can do whatever you want with it. It's mine forever. Okay. However, given what was going on, although Kanakas were given quote allodial title, it was considered allodial only to the extent that it was no longer subject to feudal control, meaning the king. Okay, the king could not dispossess you. Hawaiians never owned land. We all know we never owned land before 1850s. We had a right to live it, and the Konehikis needed us to fight their wars, so they had to keep us healthy. But we were never, the new war, new chief, new Konehiki. But the Maka'ainana were always there because we were essential. We had to work it. They can't work the land themselves. That was our power, and I maintain that's still our power. Our power in the future is not going to be our ownership of the land. It's going to be our rights to it. So we got to fundamentally change our perspective on what it means to be Hawaiian. It's not holding the paper. It's access, it's water, it's all that stuff. That's what's important. That's what's going to carry us in the future for now. Anyway, it was not allodial in that it was not subject to other sovereign prerogatives. The Commission made this clear under the law known as an Act to Organize the Executive Departments of the Hawaiian Islands, Article 4. For example, the king, Kauai maintained, 1, the right to punish for high treason by forfeiture of the land if the law so decrees. If I was a landowner and I tried to dispossess the king, he'd take my land. Okay, the right to levy taxes on every tax-yielding basis. As you know, all Hawaiians pay taxes or you work for the king. Once or twice a month, automatic. Makahiki, that was the whole thing. Okay, to encourage and even to enforce the usufruct of lands for the common goods. That means you couldn't just leave it fallow. You had to work it somehow to benefit. We're all in this canoe together. You don't pull your weight, you get out. Provide public thoroughfares and easements by means of roads, bridges, etc. And to resume certain lands, just compensation assessed for any public good. So the king could take land if he paid you correctly, right? That was the idea. So when you say allodial title, it's not totally free, it's qualified. And it makes sense. So now moving on. Now you go to Wainiha specifically. So you lay that out historically. In (1848), Miriam Kekauonohi, also known as Mikahela Kekauonohi, she was Liholiho's sixth wife. She claimed all of Ahupua'a under Land Commission Award 11216, that's right here, okay, to the exclusion of about 50 Kuleanas. So I pulled the tax map, because if you want to look, and I color coded it for myself. So this whole thing is 11216, and she didn't only claim Wainiha. She had Kohala, she had Kekauonohi was a Big Island chief. If you look at the Mahele in Kauai, no Kauai chiefs got any land. Okay, and that's because although Kamehameha the First didn't conquer it, Ka'ahumanu, by marrying Kaumoali'i and his other son, not Humehome, Kaui something or other. Yeah. Thank you. She was barren. She cut the line. That was her power. I marry you, you're done. Humehume, who was studying on the east coast at the time, came back, and in 1824 he tried to stand up to Liholiho and take Kauai back, because the Kauai chiefs always said, "Hey, Humehume, you're the man. Your father wanted you to take this place back." So he went to Russian fort, and with a bunch of rocks and sticks, he tried to take on Liholiho. Liholiho sends Kaikioewa over with Lopaka, his cannon, and all the white man's guns, and he murdered everybody, straight up. They killed every man, woman, and child on the west side, and left the bones outside. And so much so, and they left it for 2 weeks, because as we all know, you want to desecrate somebody, you want to establish dominance, you hit their bones. And it was so gnarly that the pigs came down from the mountains, and one of the reasons why they say Ele is named Ele is because it was covered with black pigs that were eating dead bodies. That's Kamehameha. That's how Kauai, whether or not it was ever conquered, is an argument to be made, because that happened. Keakioewa was the first governor of Kauai. Kekauonohi was like the second or third. Okay, that's the truth. So if you look, Kekauonohi says this is mine. She couldn't take all the Kuleanas though, so it's to the exclusion of. So what happens then, and this is her thing, 9270 is Kiva'a. Kiva'a got his. Okay, Kiva'a got his. He got two. From what I can tell by looking at, and I'm not, hey, this rood, that rood, from this tree to that rock that was subsequently moved, good luck. That's the truth. The county's not here to take anybody off this land. This issue right here is actually not a county issue. So you're not stepping in to evict anybody. You're not stepping in to do anything like that. And I want to make that abundantly clear. We're not getting involved in any civil cases. Okay? We have some other concerns that we're talking about, grading and grubbing and stuff like that. We'll talk about that in a minute. But if you look at the map, we are, Land Commission Award 92701 is right here. This is where I think, I'm not sure that's where we are. Okay? This is 9277, and if you look at Plat 6, this is one.
Right here.
Yeah, this is the one that's in the river. Now the Wainiha River migrates all over the place over the past 100 years, and it can be expected. Yeah. But it's in the river right now.
Yeah.
So if you look over here, this is about, so this is lot 57, right?
Yeah.
TMK 57?
Correct.
Okay. So if you look, I pulled this records, and the tax map key is an interesting thing, because this tax map key does not do anything. This is a list of awardees for later. The tax map key doesn't do anything but tell us who pays taxes. Doesn't mean you own the land. The county doesn't even care. If you get your taxes a year, that's all that matters to the county. Legally, that's all the power we got. According to our records, 9270 parcel 2 is TMK 642.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So the county is not involved in this matter or whatever. You know, like how you get that pepper right there with the Kiva'a, you know,
Yep.
award. How it tells this Apana 1 is zoned as a lo'i, as a taro patch. All the lands were zoned either lo'i or kula. So where in the county charters is there an error
Okay.
in the rezoning of the lo'i?
So there's a difference between zoning and designation. So in the Mahele, it was designated as a lo'i. You can get one house lot up to a quarter acre. You can get kula, which is dry land, and you can get a lo'i, which is a lo'i. That designation in the 1850s does not necessarily mean any zoning designation under Hawaii state law now. Under the law now, you could build a lot. If as a Hawaiian you got Kuleana for only lo'i, you could build on it now. Because the laws changed, the kingdom got overthrown, all this stuff happened. Okay? And so it doesn't connect right. Zoning is not designation, and that's a fundamental difference. The county will tax anything regardless, because before that the territory taxed everything regardless. And we were given taxing authority in the late 70s. When I say we, it's the county, it's not me, but okay, so anyway.
So how can... Okay, so they weren't allowed to purchase the Kuleana.
Well, let me go.
So how do we restore
Okay.
the rights for our people
this is
back to the Kuleana?
Let me finish this up and we can move to there. So, according to the county tax records, this lot right here, 57, is a portion of Land Commission Award number 11216, which is Konohiki lot. So that's Kekau Onohi's. Now that's very important because one, that makes it not a Kuleana, but second, it makes it part of the Wainiha Hui partition. So moving on to that now. The Wainiha Hui partition is exactly right, like was said. It was so. What happened was when Kekau Onohi died, like a lot of the chiefs were educated at the royal school, and a lot of the Kamehameha, she never had any kids. Okay, heirs. So what she did was all 15,000 acres, which is Wainiha except the Kuleanas, passed by conveyance to Castle and Cook Trust. Because Bishop, Castle and Cook, Baldwin, all these guys, they went to school. They were the missionary kids. They were raised with the chiefs, and they were all friends together, right? So they said, hey, no worry, when you die, we'll take care of your land. And it happened. It passed by will. That was legit. However, no one cared about Wainiha back then. It was too far in the boonies. Everyone thing was in Oahu. Everyone was moving to Oahu. So in 1877, recorded in the Bureau of Conveyances, book 50, page 160, Castle and Cook sold Wainiha, all 15,000 acres, to Kuehu, Ehu, and 70 others as tenants in common, owning the entire tract in 71 equal shares. This is very important for us to realize as Hawaiians because we weren't stupid. We weren't victimized. What these Hawaiians did, it wasn't only Hawaiians, it was Chinese, was Aulis, was Japanese, everyone who was here in 1870s. They bought in because they were living here. And they said, you know what, let's make a corporation. We all hui up and we buy everything. We divided up in 70 equal shares and they all got a house lot. They all got 5 acres of ag, and they all had rights to the water, to fishing, and everything. They had ditch easements. Every lot in the Wainiha Hui land had right to water. Okay, that's all important because although not Kuleanas, they have their own, and those rights still exist. You have, as a landowner of this lot, regardless of where you're from, you have the same rights under the Partition Action thing. Okay. All right. So one of those people that bought in was McBride. Robinson was an owner. Choke people were owners. Over time, people moved out. People died. They traded their own shares. They leased out. They paid dividends. It was a total corporation organized under the Kingdom of Hawaii laws. I mean, it was legit. It was pretty amazing. They did it in Haina. They did it in Moloa'a. They're doing it all over. Hawaiians were not.
But
stupid.
there's a lot of false things,
Well,
like
yeah.
taking adverse possession. Henry
course.
Rice, when people was dead or didn't even die, there wasn't communication, and that's also documented.
I'm not
yeah?
saying that. I'm not saying that this is right. I'm saying this
Yeah.
is what happened. And
Okay.
at that time, if I took your land for 5 years and you didn't say nothing, I kept your land forever. And that's how they did it. And although unjust, totally legal. All right. So in about 1820s and I mean 1920s, but I don't want to read it and take it all out. It'd take too long. But they lease out land court upon a 49, and they do the powerhouse. Technology says if you're 700 feet above sea level, you can make hydroelectric. That's when it started, and they leased it. They all got paid for it. Over time to the 1940s, McBride bought up 60% of all the interest in Wainiha, and it was
by force.
well, partially. It was
Partially
also,
by force.
Also legally. I mean, also like, hey, I'm
By
out of
force,
here.
'cause
I'm
you
gonna
wanted
go.
them.
I got a job working shipyard
Yeah.
in Oahu.
But there's a lot
I'll
of
pay you.
false.
I'm not saying there's not,
Yeah.
but there is also a lot of pragmatic people, because Hawaiians are people too, saying, hey, I'll give you $1,000 in 1920 for your share. They went.
But also that individual share signs off land they didn't own that was just their share.
Yeah, and through and then we're gonna get to this.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go to 1942. Technology advances like it tends to do, and now you only need to be 300 feet above sea level to make double the power. By that time, they owned 60+% of the entire thing. So they did what you can legally do. You partition it. A lot of you got land that you own. And you probably own 1/20th, 1/40th, 1/50th. You can go to court and say, look, we can't divide this land up. It's too small to cut into 40 different lots. So we're going to sell it. So that's what they did. That was the partition action. So they cut up everything and they designated as lot numbers. See? And it goes all the way. I thought this was Hyanna when I was growing up, but it starts one right by the Camp Maui,
Yeah.
and it wraps all the way around and comes up here. And you got like 200 plus, 298. That's where the Ham Youngs live right here. Okay, so that's what it is. As far as Wainiha partition. So right now, what we're looking at right here, this looks like this is a hui lot, part of the royal patent. And that landowner dispute that Jesse has regarding
Us,
okay.
all
our
correct.
families, we just represent
all of
our
us.
family.
So and this is kind of what we're talking about, a lot of big broad brush stroke stuff here. And what is happening specifically on this lot as far as getting cleared, that getting removed, that being affected, will be dealt with separately than the restoration of the kingdom. That makes sense.
Yes.
Well, going back to our rights.
Yes.
So, as you guys all can see, you guys see the lo'i over there. This is what this is on Taro Patch. So us is Kanaka Mo'oli, and that is our birthright right there. That is our food source. You're gonna take away our food, then that's when things don't become
So
peaceful.
Mauna Kea, what you
So wait.
suggesting or sharing or what?
The
It's
rights
kinda
to the
long.
Oi
It's
right
kind of
here.
long.
So-
How we gonna move forward?
So
Well, that's what.
yeah. So what you got right here is that you have gathering rights as Native Hawaiians.
Okay.
Okay? And this is what I'm talking about, not ownership, it's access.
Yeah.
So
With that gathering access right, the so-called landowner can't stop anyone.
well
So no one should be arrested.
wait, it's more complex than that.
Okay.
Okay, so what you're dealing with here is so when Kauai Keoli in the Mahele granted Native Hawaiians lands, he said that upon including the provision in the law, and this is every land title is subject to the rights of native tenants.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Specifically to gather firewood, house timber, aho cord, thatch, tea leaf for private non-commercial use, rights to drinking water, running water, and right of way. Furthermore, and then if you own, and subsequent to case law, this is PASH, this is Kalipi, this is Pele Defense Fund, all those cases to the 70s. So right now, Ho'aina, which is the native tenants, can gather in the ahupua'a where they live. They can gather the firewood, the tea leaf, medicines, traditional customary rights, etc. And it protects other traditional customary practices that have continued without harm to property owners. However, the law states clearly the interests of the property owner, the Ho'aina, must be balanced. I'm not saying this is right or wrong. This is just, if you go to court, this is what's going to become relevant. It permits you only to enter undeveloped rather than fully developed lands for the purpose of exercising traditional and customary rights.
This is undeveloped.
Okay. But there's an argument relating there too. This is where I want to go with this thing. Your rights to easement and access is not a right to ownership, it's a right to easement and access. So what you can do is not only take land, but you can also establish your rights. Now I'm glad Dan's here, because Dan works at Native Hawaiian Legal Corp. Okay, NHLC. So if any Native Hawaiian claims to have access rights or establish what's called a prescriptive easement, go talk to NHLC. Okay? Prescriptive.
Well, we did that. And through our process of getting Arnold Lam, who works for Hawaiian Legal Cooperation, didn't show up for summary judgment for us. And we lost the front houses to summary judgment because they failed to show up. And never said anything. And they came in, cops and everything, and kicked us out of our house, my grandma's house.
And that's the problem with
So,
NHLC.
NHLC
We're going back
is
to the
not
state of Hawaii
for our people.
entity.
Yeah, so what I'm
look for
saying is
help.
that you can go to the court and say, for instance, under the law right now, to establish prescriptive easement, it's a tool it's a Western legal tool. You can see I've been doing this for 10 years.
Now we got the attorneys.
And if you can show that, you get it, regardless. You have right to access forever. You've established your prescriptive easement. It's individual. So if you have those rights, establish it. That's what you need to do. It's never been easy to live on these islands, and we've always fought living here. So nothing changes. You got to establish those rights. If
So
you
let's change it
no, you just establish it.
to enforce, establish something.
Well, everything's
For-
go back to the jurisdiction.
for we
Where does
can
the state of Hawaii and the
practice our
county has
right.
their
We
jurisdiction
can live
to rule on the lands
And what-
that's Kuleana
practically,
land?
you know?
So you want to talk really big picture?
Yeah.
Okay, jurisdiction. It is, a couple of things. This will make me sleep at night. It's a fundamental fact that every year Hawaii moves 1 3/4 inches further away from California. That's geological. It moves away. It is a historical fact that every single empire throughout history falls, collapses. For whatever reason, it's done. That will happen in the United States. Okay? And it is a fundamental fact that ain't nobody here going anywhere. It's a waiting game. It's simple. Sovereignty is not anything to be done. It's something to prepare for. You know, there's nothing to do.
Something I want to share with you guys. So, Uncle Rico was talking about, you know, where we were going out with things in our konane with all this and whatnot. So, you know, we're kind of approaching this on all kind of different angles, you know, and so Kaimi, Uncle Ed Kaiwi, Uncle Walter Apana, Uncle Ed Tanaguchi, and Uncle Sai Shim, they're recognized by the federal government and by the county and, you know, the state. They're recognized as Konahiki. And right here, we got case study. This is a memorandum of agreement. And right here is, you know, all Konahiki, it's all in Hawaii rights statute, Konahiki rights and all kind.
So,
And you know, that's just one thing right here. This is you guys' own system recognizes Kaimi as on Konahiki, you know, and then this is our claim. This is our interest over here, our lo'i, and you know, it's like how we were saying, there is some kind of error in the
Yeah.
the evaluation of this Kuleana.
So
and
how we
whatnot.
move forward, Mauna?
so to move forward is we got to work together. It's just a canoe. I mean, that's the best
Okay.
metaphor. But so to clear this up, this is ACHP.
Advisory Council, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
this is the 106 process.
yeah.
You are recognized as an NHL, and that's true. No one's contesting that.
Mhm.
For Section 106 purposes.
Mhm.
But Section 106 only applies to government projects that use federal funds. So if when we did phase C and D of the bike path, we use federal money.
No, and I understand that. That's where they try to school us with the whole Section 100 thing, but Section 116. But that's why I show you Konahiki rights, though,
No,
because
and
you know
Well, the
it's
thing is
Konahiki.
the Kingdom of Hawaii it's still a government. That's the strength of the
Okay.
106.
And I don't want to get caught up in.
Yeah.
th-
But
that
HRS 172-11
But this does kind of come down to our rights, you know, like
with
as
that
Konahiki.
with that law, the revised statutes. With that law, Kuleana lands cannot be owned.
And I'm going to respectfully
So
disagree.
how are we going to restore that?
I'm going to respectfully disagree with you on that.
Okay.
Okay. Kuleana lands can be sold. I'm not saying they should be, but they can be. They have been.
Yes.
You know? And so what we need to do is understand.
They have been. It's an interest, but the owners is an undivided interest. Like my land in Oahu, a couple of my uncles sold, their wives sold to the Mormon church. They sold their interest, but I still hold an undivided interest with my entire family, Chief Kilipaki Vaughn, all of us, an undivided interest in our Kuleana.
I'm not talking about your
Right?
Kuleana because I know nothing about
But it's the
it.
same with here.
Well,
Applies everywhere.
but what I'm saying is that if I sell my interest to somebody because whatever,
If you even own an interest,
Yeah.
you sold it. And Kuleana lands, you don't own,
so
right?
what you're gonna see is then if whoever non-Hawaiian bought my interest
Okay.
and my brother here didn't sell his,
Yeah.
okay, what they're gonna do is call quiet title to land. And
Yeah.
they're gonna go to the court and they're gonna say, look, this is a Kuleana lot. As we all know, the title is crazy.
Yeah.
And if you do not read the legal notices
Yeah.
in the newspaper, as few do,
You
And
have
they-
mortgage insurance, you have realty
well, and
insurance,
the thing
take
is,
it up
and
with
once
them.
you quiet title, you go to court and they do this thing called service field publication. Now you guys all know this because Zuckerberg did it recently. And if you don't show up to court, whether right or wrong, the court will proceed, and you snooze, you lose. Is the rule. I'm not saying that's
supposed
right.
to revert back to
Well,
the original Hawaiian of
Okay, I'm not saying this is right. I'm saying this is the way it is. So what I want to focus though, I
So,
want to focus on moving
I
forward.
would like to share one more thing. So yesterday when we were trying to do things in a civil matter and just talk with the cops, I was waiting for Brian Fujiuchi. I'm sure you guys know who he is. I was waiting for him to show up. For some reason I never see him come. You know, I got detained and whatnot, and I don't know if he came afterwards, but basically he's kind of the one that brought Joey Cohen guys, and he's working on behalf of the owners, Katrina Morner, which I'd like to mention they're Russians and they're foreigners and they have no interest in this place other than selling and capitalizing on it. And so we were gonna serve them this pepper, and I'd like to mention, you know, it's been the International Criminal Courts ruled in 2013, talking land title, the state and county of Hawaii has no jurisdiction over title in Hawaii. And there's case numbers, case law to refer to that. And so when it comes down to it in court, you guys,
It doesn't matter.
They know more title.
Yeah. But you guys can make a difference. The fight will continue, but how is the county, and put the county on the side as individuals, people among community, how are we going to make a difference?
And so
We're going to let Russia buy and sell, and like I said, this is a place, a sense of home for us. I don't know, you like live someplace else, you want to live some.
so
These people, they're not going to stay here, and look, we get houses for $100 million oceanfront. Local people, they need their land. So how are we going to move forward Are you saying it's not possible,
No,
Mauna Kea?
no. What I want to do is shift the discussion.
Okay.
A tidal wave will come.
Definitely.
A hurricane will come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does any of these houses matter when that happens? Nothing.
It doesn't matter.
When time passes for our great grandkids or their great grandkids.
And that's why speaking of land
Yeah.
and water.
And look, what I'm saying is that play the long play. Okay? Establish your rights. Build the infrastructure for the inevitable day when the United States says, in 2008, they pretty much almost packed up and left. When the economy crashes, you think they're going to care about the glorified outpost that is Kauai?
But in the meantime, we get all our kupunas
So in
dying
the
on
meantime,
sad.
look.
They're dying sad.
One of the things,
We
Kuleana,
like them be happy. too.
unclaimed, under HRS 520 something or other, unclaimed Kuleana is Eshiata Oha.
Yeah.
Okay, Oha right now has not passed any laws to that effect, so they're being held by the state. The second Oha gets a rule pertaining to the Eshiat of Kuleanas to them, they go to Oha. So what we need to do is work together. We work together to get that law passed in Oha. Where's Palala?
Working
Yeah,
together,
yeah, to
working together also is we need to stop excavation and
You're not going to stop it. And I'm not saying
And-
that, I don't know how to stop it.
especially desecration of our sacred sites, our burial grounds. Let me tell you, I have death certificates for almost from 1909 to the present. I know where everybody buried.
Okay, and on that, so I was on burial council from 2012 to 2014. Then they kicked me off.
Yeah.
Okay. I work with there. I got Palala became.
I would kick
part
you
of it.
off too because there's a conflict, yeah?
No,
You serving
this is why.
Why?
So this is what we did. We went all around the island, and to gather mana'o from everybody, to figure out where the burial sites were.
Well, I'm going to tell you the problem with gaining information from everybody, yeah? When an individual passes away, like your great-grandmother, the informant on the death certificate, they list the parent's name, and we all know the mouth can speak shit, can speak truth, you never believe a mouth.
Yeah,
But documents, besides Emmeline's Metcalf influence in the documents, it tells you more, especially when there's more sources.
so let me just stop you.
But
right there. I
you
was-
cannot believe people.
No,
You know what I mean?
It doesn't. Okay, so what we did was we came here, we went each and every moku on the island.
Hmm.
I got all of their Kuleana Kama'aina testimony, which is admissible. I
Okay.
turned it into affidavits. I had them all sign it.
Mhm.
It included Uncle Bobo, it included Auntie Stella Burgess, both of whom passed. Their mana'o lives on to this day. We packaged it all up. Palala was there.
Yeah.
And everyone said, this is where it is. This is where that is.
Hmm.
Because under under HARs, the State Historic Preservation Division, and the Burial Council specifically, can assist the department in inventorying and identifying Native Hawaiian burial sites by providing information obtained from families and other sources. That's the law, so we'll take advantage of it. We took advantage of it. Make recommendations to the department to recognize them. Make a list of all the organizations to take other actions. We finished, we went from August 7th to November 6th, 2013. We put all the report together. December 18th, the Burial Council voted to have the state approve and recognize those previously identified sites. The state said no. Okay, and I banged on it for 2 more years, and they took me off.
Okay, so moving forward pertaining to Kuleana lands.
At this time, I'd like to introduce Noah Mao.
So yeah,
Well,
I
you say
like
something.
to tell you guys something, Mauna Kea. You and the mayor, you guys get control over the police, yeah?
No.
You guys no more control over the police, it's county.
We don't order the police.
I'll make that clear.
Okay, what I like to ask of you guys is, over here, title is an issue and jurisdiction is an issue. So if you guys can keep the cops out of it and let us settle these disputes in court, you know what I mean?
You can't keep the cops out of it. But if anyone has complaints about interaction with police, you go to the police commission, you file a complaint.
Because I get court cases for sure right now in Hawaii. Title is an issue on all commercial and residential
You
properties.
take that to court. That's
What?
where it belongs.
Okay,
So-
I just saying what I say. Like I said, I get the court cases right here for sure. Title is an issue in Hawaii over all commercial residential properties, and jurisdiction is an issue in Hawaii. So how can guys be moving forward, coming and grabbing guys when this is already was addressed in former court cases? I get them right here in the bag.
It's a type of harassment.
The
where
judges
these people
stated
are
already.
getting arrested.
The courts
like
lack
trying
subject
to
matter
make
jurisdiction.
things right,
I'm
but
not like
the police
yeah.
is pretty much an interruption
Yeah.
of time.
They're trying to
and
get in
money.
between of it.
No more due process.
Yeah.
Let us settle it in court before the
so,
police get involved.
So what is the process of that? Making a complaint to the commission?
Yeah, well, the commission is not going to hear land title complaints, but what you
Not
can
a
say-
land title complaint, but if there's nothing criminal happening, what is the cause? Because I could tell you, picking them up from
If you get
There.
charged with trespass and you don't believe you're trespassing, that's a defense. You got
Yeah.
the Hanapi defense. Ikaika Pratt did it
okay,
with success in Kalalau.
So who has control over the police if you get no more control of the police? Who get control? Are those guys are there?
that are coming and doing these illegal activities? Huh? Please
Yeah,
explain that to us.
Well, the
Keep
police
them good.
chief directs the cops and the commission oversees the department.
the commission.
We don't order, we don't order
Okay.
the cops. Mayor did not call the cops.
I did not call the cops.
So what
Or
the
the
mayor
police.
can do is this. Part of the partition action, there's a park, as you all know, Makai. That was given to the county as part of the partition. It's about 5 acres and change. Mayor's willing to work with the Ohana, who are rightfully here in Wainiha, a stewardship agreement to do what you want. We did it with Uncle
You know,
Presley.
is that right across the road?
Okay,
We did it with Uncle Root.
this becomes an issue though. Okay, when we exchange, okay, the Mormon Church told me they're gonna give me 25,000 square feet, 2-story house, 5-bedroom. They're gonna give me everything. Okay, the problem with that is they're gonna give me what I want because of my right and my interests. But when you accept something else, it should be given to the community. I'm not gonna disagree with that. But as people of this land, if I accept that offer, like how you mentioning, I lose my right
No,
No.
to my
no.
my
We're not
land.
exchanging it.
No.
What this is a park that no one's taking care of. You guys want to express yourselves. You want to grow. You want to put your canoes there. You want to do a hale. That's where it belongs.
So where does your
Okay.
guys' jurisdiction come in to even give us that? That's already all the
Well,
Ohana's
The
land.
well,
partition action.
We
We're
we
not saying
shall
it's right. We're saying it exists.
you shall make use of that, but also we need a resolution where they can use this and every Kuleana land.
You
So,
guys, you
I
guys
get one
know
question,
this.
Mauna
Right?
Kea, I get one question. If the cases I get, if the courts and judges had rule that they lack subject matter jurisdiction over these issues in Hawaii, how come you guys stay here getting involved?
Well, as I was sharing, for them coming as individuals they're also descendants of these Kuleana
Yeah, so
lands.
we're coming in as
Okay.
family.